Hi, I'm Sophie Snow. Welcome to my cooking show. Do you go bananas for banana bread? We do. Today we are going to make chocolate chip banana bread. It's moist, delicious, gluten-free, dairy-free, and it has protein in it. So stick around. First, we're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius. And line your loaf pan with parchment paper, or you can use cooking spray. This is a 9x5 loaf pan, which fits perfectly for this amount of batter. Set that aside for later. And then we're going to blend a box of tofu. You can use Mori-Nu Plus fortified tofu or Mori-Nu Silken Tofu Firm. They're both silken tofu, which helps to add moisture to this recipe, and it also acts as a binder. Wow, it's steaming out the top. That's crazy. All right, now that that's all blended, we're going to use 3/4 cup of this, and the rest you can put in the refrigerator and save for something like a smoothie. Now we're ready to mix the wet ingredients. In a medium bowl, you're going to add the 3/4 cup of silken tofu that we just blended. Next, it's 1 cup of mashed ripe bananas. So you would mash them with a fork. And when you measure out 1 cup, you put it on parchment paper in 1 cup lumps and freeze it. Then you can take the frozen lumps and store it in a freezer bag, and it's good in your freezer for when you are ready to make banana bread. So that's what we did here, and I have defrosted my 1 cup lump from the freezer, and we're going to add that to the mixture. Now you can also use fresh ripe bananas, of course, and just mash them with a fork. Next is 3/4 cup of granulated sugar. Now, of course, you can use sugar alternatives that are made for baking, or you can decrease the sugar if you don't like it that sweet. The bananas are going to add a lot of sweetness on their own, and the chocolate chips will also add sweetness. Next is 1/4 cup of coconut oil melted. Then, of course, we need our apple cider vinegar, which adds acidity, and that's 1 tablespoon. And vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon. That was a little bit too much. We're going to have a very vanilla-y banana bread. It's okay, I love vanilla. Now we're going to mix this up. I like to use a whisk also, it helps to speed things up, which I forgot. There we go. So you just want to mix this until it's well mixed, because once we combine it with the dry ingredients, you're not going to mix it that much there, because you don't want like a really tough banana bread. Now we're going to mix the dry ingredients. First is 2 cups of flour. Here I'm using Bob's Red Mill gluten-free 1-to-1 baking flour. You can use regular flour, of course. Next is 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Then 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And don't forget your salt, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Now just mix that well. My favorite thing, whisking, mixing and whisking. Now we're ready to pour our wet ingredients into the dry. You want to have everything ready because you don't want it to sit here too long. Once you mix it, you want to get it into the oven as soon as you can. So I have my loaf pan ready with the parchment paper. I have the added ingredient, which is the 3/4 cup of chocolate chips. You can use nuts instead of chocolate chips if you'd like. If you don't want as many chocolate chips, you can use as little as 1/2 cup. But I have 3/4 cup here because the chocolate makes it so good. I also have a 1/4 cup of walnuts that were chopped, and this will go on top. So I have everything ready. Now we're gonna pour the wet into the dry. Now when you mash the bananas, it was okay to have some chunks of bananas in there. You don't need to, completely mash it so it's, completely mushy. Now we're going to stir this up. You don't want to over mix it because that will cause your banana bread to become kind of tough and rubbery. I mean, you just don't want to over mix it. You want to see some flour pockets in there. Now I'm going to add some chocolate chips in here. I'm going to do it about half at a time. Some people don't have the patience and they just pour it right in. You can do that too if you'd like. Then the rest. Notice that I'm kind of folding them in, cutting through it and flipping it. Okay, now we're going to pour it into our 9 by 5 inch loaf pan. Oops. It's a little heavy. Don't drop it. I have yet to drop it, though one day I'm sure I will. Maybe on camera. So get that right in the center. Those chocolate chips look so good. Now this is a vegan recipe. It has no dairy, no eggs, but remember that you will have to get vegan chocolate chips as well because not all chocolate is vegan. Now I'm going to cut the middle, just kind of score it. You don't have to do this, but just know that your banana bread will crack anyway. I think that looks nice when the bread is cracked on top and it just looks like it's fresh baked and homemade. If you score it, that kind of helps to force it to crack down the center. Now it's ready to go in the oven. 350 degrees Fahrenheit or 177 degrees Celsius for 1 hour. You have to be patient. Don't keep opening the oven to check on it unless you have to for some reason. You want the oven to stay heated evenly all the way through. When it's done, you can insert a toothpick or a skewer in the center to check for doneness. So there should be no wet dough on your skewer or toothpick when you insert it in the center. So 1 hour, it's going in the oven, and then we'll be back. So we have 2 banana breads here that are already made for you. And we have the one that we just mixed up in the oven. So after 1 hour in the oven, you want to take it out of the oven, and while it's still in the loaf pan, you want to let it cool for about 10 minutes because it's too hot to remove it from the loaf pan and it'll still be soft. Set it on a wire rack and let it cool some more. When it's still warm, you could slice it, but it'll be soft and harder to slice and kind of sticky. So if you let it cool down completely, it'll be easier to slice. Now you can also see this one I've scored, and it has some cracks in it, which looks homemade and lovely and delicious to me. This I did not score, and it cracked on the side over here, or a little bit off to the side. So just preference, and sometimes it'll do its own thing anyway, whether you score it or not. So let's cut this one and see how it looks. Since I let this one cool completely, you can see that it's much easier to slice. When it's warm, it will be sticky. There you have it. There is the chocolate chips, and it's still moist in the center, yet dense. And we've got that beautiful nut topping. What my mom loves to do is she loves to put it in a toaster oven. So it kind of, caramelizes a bit and gets kind of toasty on the outside. Some people prefer to have what my family, we call this the head of the bread, the ends. Some other people call it the heel. So what do you call it? Comment below and tell me, the head or the heel, or something completely different. I say we taste this. So good. And it smells delicious. So here's the description, because I know you can't taste it at home. The outside is like crispy, chewy, kind of a caramelized sweetness. The inside is dense, which, banana bread is like bread. It's not a cake, so it should be dense, but at the same time moist. The chocolate chips are just soft enough that they like kind of just melt with the center as you bite it, as you eat it. It's so good. Oh, this is so good. I think I'm gonna just eat another. Oh, I have to say goodbye. Hi. Oh, not hi. I'm Sophie Snow. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please subscribe, ring the notification bell so you know when I post next, and like this video and comment telling me, is this the heel or the head, or what do you call this, the end of the bread? Hey, that rhymed. Thanks for watching. Bye. I'm gonna eat this. Yum. I think that's a blooper. I thought I was gonna have a blooper. I did a good job, if I do say so myself. My favorite doing on a cooking show is whisking. My favorite activity is whisking. I took such a big bite.